The opinions expressed on this program are those of the participants and do not necessarily reflect those of Cable 14, its sponsors, or its shareholders, Cogeco Cable, Shaw Cable, and Source Cable Limited.
Welcome to Persistence Pays TV. I'm your host, Lori Rowdnask. On today's show, we're going to be talking about persistence in a different way. Persistence in business, yes, but persistence also on how you can achieve things that you never thought were possible. And who I have on the show with me today is Esther and Daniel Pauls from the Runner's Den. And I know Esther very well because she helped me achieve a personal goal of myself to run a marathon, which I never thought would be possible ever.
Exciting.
And I remember I started to run after an injury when I was in a lot of pain. And running actually helped me get over that hurdle of to get well. And I remember coming into the store because it was wintertime and I didn't know what to wear in the winter, and I came in and got Esther and I'm like, what do I wear in the winter? And you outfitted me and then said, come and run with us on Saturday. And I came and ran on Saturday. And then the next thing, I was running in the Boxing Day run, which I had no idea what 16 kilometers was at the time.
That's really aggressive.
That was and I was like, oh my goodness. And of course, the girl that you paired me with, both of our birthdays were on the same day, so we had lots to talk about. And she was trying to beat her time, and I didn't want to not keep up with her because I didn't know where I was. So it was the most amazing thing. And from that moment, I came to the Runner's Den for many years, and until I, did my first 5K, 10K, half marathon. We went to Ottawa many times. And New York, around the Bay, until I finally did the New York City Marathon.
That's
so
great.
Thank you for all of your persistence.
Persistent work.
I don't know if it was persistence or just get out there and run.
Right. But Lori, the neat thing is our store is not just buying a pair of shoes or clothes, is coming and using the things that you bought.
Yes.
Anybody that comes in, I said, okay, I'm going to outfit you, but I want you to come and I will help you achieve what your goals are.
Absolutely.
And I think persistent, you have to have goals in life. Don't you agree?
Yeah.
If you have no goals, then you don't want to go out there.
Well, I think, I never would have thought to even run a 5K, to be honest with you.
Right.
But once you're out there and you meet some friends, I mean, you start running and you kind of get into a group where you run at their their speed. You find your pace. And then it's all about, we always said it wasn't about the running, it was going for coffee after.
Coffee's great after.
And the friendships that we've made has been really phenomenal.
And as you know, running is kind of neat, or walking. Walking is the same thing. Running is just going a little bit faster, right? You get to know the person beside. You get to talk. And I find that so exciting. I love talking. You know that, Lori.
I know.
So I could run a marathon and talk the whole way and find out who the girl I'm running with or the guy. And it's kind of neat. You learn. When you're in a gym, which I like the gym too, I do exercise in the gym, but you don't talk as much. You have to concentrate. So running and walking, I just love it. I love
and
being
in the
outside.
winter, the summer, it doesn't matter.
No, it doesn't
And that's
matter.
the beauty of it. And you really develop some friendships.
You sure do.
That are for life, really.
For life.
Now, Esther, you are unbelievable. You've run 27 marathons, and a marathon, for those of you who don't know, is 42 kilometers. 42.2, and it is the 0.2 that is the most important, because when you know you only have 0.2 to go, you think, oh my goodness, how much is 0.2? I remember that. And you have done 4 Ironmans.
Yes, I've done 5.
Now, explain what an Ironman is.
Well, an Ironman, you swim 4 kilometers, you bike 180, and then you run 42. And the thing is about an Ironman is I enjoy them because it's longer. I found the older you get, I'm going to be 60 next year, and I'm doing Austria Ironman.
Awesome.
And the neat thing about it is you don't really have to go fast. They give you a certain time that you have to do it in. So I do take my time. My fastest Ironman was 13 hours and 45 minutes. And they give you up to 17. So I'm really pretty good,
Yeah.
And I thought, I enjoy them. And the thing is, you have to enjoy what you do. If running is not your cup of tea, that's fine. But if you go out there and walk, I started my older sister, who's a little bit overweight, and I said, you know what? You really need to be disciplined and go out every day, no matter how cold it is. Because actually, if it's colder, you lose more calories. Go out for half hour, that's it. So she started a week ago, and I said, you got to keep doing it. So, and I think it's persistent
Yes.
of doing it.
Yeah.
And after you do it, I'll guarantee you'll get addicted. Addicted in a
is.
sense that you
It
love
is.
exercising.
Now, Daniel, have worked at the store for a long time.
Long time,
and you like to cross train and do different things
Yeah,
as well.
and I love running. I'm a big 10K runner, and I enjoy playing hockey. I'm at the gym. I do some triathlons. The longer the Ironman will be in the future. A little more dedication towards that.
It takes a lot of time to train, right?
I mean, you're 20 hours a week of training.
Yeah.
And I dedicate some time to hockey and some other stuff. So I do love the triathlons, and all summer I usually do 3 or 4 of them. But the longer stuff will probably be a bit down the road. for
So
sure.
what do you like about the business?
I love meeting new people and running with people, and I love training. I love to stay fit. Pretty much my life is to stay fit. So the store just allows me to do that.
Yeah.
So I don't feel like I work when I go, 3 nights a week I'm running with people. I've never felt like I'm at work.
Yeah.
And I've worked really well with my parents, and just a lifelong of being fit from a young age, playing hockey and doing everything. It's been great. It's been 16 years there. I just can't believe how time has gone by.
Well, it's inspirational probably to you too to see your parents at their age, and you're young,
Yeah,
but to be able to do that when a lot of parents are sitting at home watching TV.
And we're competitive. There's 4 boys in the family, so we're very competitive. And my dad is almost 60, and he pretty much has beat us all until last year when I finally took him, and I'm in my 20s. So.
And how'd that feel?
And that's, I'll tell you. So me and my other brother are trying to qualify and go to Boston with my dad. And the scary thing is, I'm afraid that I might not beat him. And he's 60, so.
Well, that'll give you something to work towards.
Yes.
Yeah. Now, you've taken your running, Esther, and I remember the first year you did the Haiti run.
Yeah.
And I helped on that
Oh,
committee
yes,
a couple
you
of years.
did.
And, tell me what came to your mind to actually bring that to
Well,
Hamilton?
it's nice because people like competing. People think running is just exercising, but really it is competition. I love a little bit of competition. So I met this wonderful lady, Jim and Joan Turnbull, who told me about Haiti. So I said, let's start a little race. So that race now is 15 years old.
Oh, my goodness.
But now we turned it into called Hamilton Marathon, which we add a marathon, a half, a 5, a 10, and a 1K. And it's exciting because people love competing. And I want to tell you, ours is #1 Boston qualifier.
Wow.
Which means our marathon is the fastest because it goes down the Red Hill, as you know.
Yes.
And we changed the route now about 4 times, and we go on Ridge Road. It's beautiful. We have wonderful business people that support it and help us, and that's nice too. And that's why I love running. I love meeting people. I love meeting business people. I love meeting all kinds of different people, and just say, hey, we want to help city kids.
I was going to say, so you do the marathon, and what does that
The
do?
money goes to City Kids and Haiti, but we also opened it up to any other charity, and this is good. We're trying to get the Good Shepherd involved. We're trying to get other charities to come on board. We have this wonderful charity called Edudeo, and they raised over $80,000 just amongst themselves. So it's a great way for people to run, be fit, and do good causes.
Well, I remember when we were working together on the race, and I was a dry land trainer for a hockey team, my son's hockey team, and I brought the whole team out to run. It was a 5K, and some of them wanted to do it, and some of them didn't. But you know what? It was an incredible experience for those boys, especially the ones that didn't think they could do it. When they crossed that finish line, the excitement that they have.
Yeah, I don't know if you know too, we support the schools in Hamilton come out and cheer for us and give us water while we run, and we pay them as a community thing, and it's nice. So Hamilton benefits, and I love how we live in Hamilton. We have to love Hamilton, right? And so they benefit too, and Hamilton benefits because the hotels are booked, and we had almost 6,000 people last year. So this year we're probably hoping for 7. We increase it 1,000 every year, so we know how to grow.
Now this year, what happened too with New York being canceled, to the disaster in New York?
It was incredible.
A lot of the New York runners hopped on a plane and came to Hamilton.
250 people we opened it up to because we didn't have enough medals, enough shirts, enough food. So they were people sleeping in their car. I had one email they slept in the car because really, couldn't find a hotel and stuff. But it was exciting though for them to come to Hamilton.
Yeah.
Actually, I met a couple of police officers, 6 of them, and they came from New York to do it, and they said, we didn't know Hamilton was so beautiful because we ran on Ridge Road, and you know how beautiful the mountain is, and then going down. So they emailed me, said, we're going to come back. So it's kind of neat. Hamilton was on the map.
Getting New York here, that must have created a lot of last minute details and a lot of hard work and dedication to make it happen. So how did that all work out?
It worked out actually. It was a little chaotic. We were delayed for 20 minutes to start the race because buses were coming from Confederation up. We couldn't get them all up there. So it was a little, but people understand.
Yeah.
You know, actually people thanked us. We have people from all over thanking us. The person that won was from New Zealand. He says, I've never run a marathon and won. Like, he was fast.
Wow.
But when you go to New York, you get the Kenyans, the Ethiopians, and he actually won the marathon and was so excited, you know. So, and we have people from Italy, from India. It was exciting.
And Daniel, I want to ask you, your parents have brought in people from many different countries, and you've got to work and train, and what's that done for you?
Oh, it's been great. I mean, we've actually used to house some Kenyan runners.
Yes.
Me and my mom and my other brother actually went to Kenya to visit their families and to see how they train and their kind of culture of running and how they live was really awesome. And so they would come here for 3, 4, 5 months and use it as kind of their racing season. So we got to house some of them and watch how they train and taking them to races, and it's pretty cool to see that. And also the nice thing about running with these guys is the last place runner and the first place runner, they do the same course. They line up on the same start line. Like at our race, we had Reed Coolsat, who was an Olympian this year. I think running is the only sport where you can say you're on the same start line as the best in the world. Right? And that's a cool way to look at it. Like, you're running the same course as Olympians, as the best in the world, gold medalists. You go to New York, those guys that win, gold medalists, you're on the same start line.
Yeah.
So it's a pretty cool aspect.
What inspires you about the people who go out and break their times and do things that they never thought were possible? The
dedication it takes, because I'll tell you, I'm trying to run and I'm always trying to beat my times in the distances that I run, and I'm trying to qualify for Boston right now. And it's a lot of work. Yeah. So to see the persistence, you have to change your eating, your habits of going out and getting rest. When you're injured, taking care of that stuff. And it's a whole, almost a life change, but it's fun for sure.
That's great. Well, thank you both for being here and sharing your excitement for what you do in the city.
Thank you,
and
Lori.
whether you walk or run, it doesn't really matter. It's just coming out and getting some exercise.
Exactly, and being persistent in what you want to do. So
okay, great. Well, thank you, and we'll be back in a minute, and you're going to meet a man who's gone to the North Pole and the South Pole.
Oh, wow.
Welcome back. Now in the studio I have Fred Losani with me from Losani Homes. And Fred, you have been one persistent man. Persistent in business, yes, but what you have done to raise money for this community is outstanding. You've gone to the South Pole, you've gone to the North Pole. Most recently you completed the whole Bruce Trail in 30 days. I mean, you are, that's incredible. So you are a man with a lot of stamina for sure in doing all of those things.
Yeah, and it's been a lot of fun in the process. It really has. And
raising a lot of money for the community. So first, let's just talk about how you got into business and what got you into the building business.
Well, my family, the company, Losani Homes, it's been around 37 years and started by my dad and my brother. And you know, for us, what we do for a living now is something that just happened to be around the kitchen table all the time. So certainly I grew up with it, but never thought I'd necessarily get involved until I was around 17. So at that time, getting involved in the family business, my dad being an incredibly fair person, he has always given us the opportunity to become involved if we chose to, which I did in '85. And then my dad's the kind of guy who just said, "No, my time's done," and to kind of pass the baton. And so succession was simple. He's still involved because he really promotes the culture of the company, and it's a pretty special place to be a part of, I think.
Well, that's great. And I mean, you do a lot in business and been very successful in business. You've won lots of awards for your business. Maybe you can tell us a little bit about a few of those.
Yeah, that's kind of embarrassing to talk about because I find it always surprising when the recognition takes place. But we've been recognized as a philanthropic company of the year, and we've been selected as a 50 best managed company for 6 years running, and recently was awarded the Distinguished Graduate Award from my alma mater, Brock University. So those that kind of recognition is it really helps to fuel and validate some of the things that you've done, and it provides the opportunity to really reflect and talk about it, and validate that it's a good thing to do, and we should be able to continue with the goals that we've set out there in the community. And I think that when other people see that kind of recognition as well, it might inspire them as well. So there's only good that can come from that, I think.
Yes, for sure. And I know you were recognized by the Stoney Creek Chamber as the Community Recognition Award for all you've done in the community, and that's what I want to focus on now, because you have raised a lot of money for the community, whether it be through turkey drives or your expeditions. And so let's start with the South Pole was first, correct?
It was North Pole
first. North Pole? Okay, North Pole.
2006, yeah.
And so tell me a little bit about the North Pole. What made you decide to do that as a fundraising venture?
You know, leading up to, the mid-2000s, getting out of university, getting involved in the family business, setting personal corporate goals for yourself, family goals, it was a busy period, all the way from through the 90s and up until the mid-2000s, and you really get caught up in what you're doing, and the focus becomes only on those things. And I certainly wasn't leading a balanced life by that point. And I came across, at a fundraiser, Peter Turkstra, who said to me, "Hey, you're the guy I should be talking to. Do you want to go to the North Pole?" And it was almost it was almost special and unusual meeting him at that time, because I was looking for something, and I immediately said yes. And we saw it as an opportunity, though, to be able to perhaps use it as a catalyst to motivate individuals to give to a charity on the basis of what we were doing from an effort perspective. And so that's how it started,
Okay.
And it gave us a great focus in the trip to the North Pole, where we also had Steve Stipsitz, who joined us on that trek. And we clearly saw it as an opportunity to be able to use it to mobilize a machine that would get individuals to take money out of their pockets to the charities of the community. We fell into this great idea and formula for success in community giving that we have taken and run with ever since.
So for that expedition, what did you raise in the community?
We raised $500,000, and we focused it on areas like Sick Kids Hospital here at MAC, and City Kids was a big winner of that. But we put a lot of the money, the majority of the money, went into the separate and public school boards nutrition programs that was targeted specifically to schools that were in high need.
Wow.
So it was really successful, and connecting the education with children as well, because we had a pretty technical program of communication that enabled us to be able to communicate with the spectator and then directly with classrooms, stopping along the way, taking phone calls on our sat phones from classrooms. And what we realized was that something that started sort of as a personal trip and excursion turned into something that was a lot more effective and a lot more rewarding, because you do it for yourself sometimes, and it's a bit selfish. It is personal development, but when you can, utilize it for education and fundraising, it all of a sudden gives you a great motivation for yourself to want to finish it and do it again.
And the inspiration that you would have to those students, to have them kind of follow along with what you're doing.
Well, yeah, it sparked a lot of discussion about the environment and about our geography, and so we probably, after that 2006 trip, visited 25, 30 different schools and classrooms and made presentations, took questions. And I know that we touched a lot of kids because there was a lot of curiosity in the room.
So what made you go on to do your next expedition?
It was a natural. I mean, it's as if you couldn't do it at all. In fact, from that, one of the fellows, Paul Hubner, a very close friend of mine, has insisted that we must climb Everest at some point. And it has fueled a real great love of climbing that he and I have carried forward to a number of summits that we've been able to do. However, I have no desire to carry through on that Everest situation. But the South Pole was a must, and we went into it much more prepared, and we raised over $600,000 in that effort.
Wow.
And it was a lot more grueling, a bigger personal challenge for us individually, and it was more successful. And but what came from that when we finally did it was that we realized that North Pole, South Pole, it communicates so much from an awareness perspective what's happening in the environment, but we felt that it was a bit too extreme and out there, and to motivate individuals to want to do something like that is difficult because it's not necessarily in the grasp of individuals to do that. And that's immediately where the idea to hike the Bruce Trail came up, because we thought, here's a real life expedition that exists in people's own backyards.
And some people take 5 years to do it. I mean,
yeah, I've seen people 20 years trying to do the last leg, yeah.
Right,
So,
and you did it in 30 days.
Yeah. Yeah, and
what I loved about that story was that you had some of the schools join you on the Bruce Trail.
Well, you know, I spoke yesterday to a friend who's run the New York Marathon, and he said that he could not believe the boost that he received when he was going through Central Park.
Oh my gosh, it's incredible. I've run the New York City Marathon, and
so you know.
you are just, it's unbelievable. An experience I'll never
and we got to experience that in our own way with classrooms, you know, like St. Clair of Assisi and St. David's, meeting us just off of the Battlefield Park along the way, hundreds of kids on the trail. They themselves taking the opportunity in the mornings to go out and explore the Bruce Trail, some of whom had never even been there before, despite the fact that it was 4 kilometers from their school. And getting cheered on like that, and I'll tell you, I mean, the next 20 kilometers that followed after that were a piece of cake. So it's great to get that kind of boost along the way. And it gives us these great markers. And here today we're going to meet, you know, we met the Bruce Trail School up in Kelso Conservation Area. And then Lime Kiln School up in the Lime Kiln region, so in the Caledon Hills. So that was really outstanding. And at the end, we met St. Edmunds at the cairn and Thornberry itself. So the way we started is the way we finished it, and we were as excited about the end of it as we were at the beginning.
How many hours a day would you hike?
Between 7 and 8.5 hours a day. Yeah.
And that's all like up and down.
You know what? It's what we tracked. Caloric intake. We tracked our burn rate during the day, how much we were losing in weight. I lost 18 pounds.
Wow.
And Peter Turksher lost 20. Mark McLennan is, I think, still losing weight. He's a shadow of who he was before, a healthier one at that. But it was outstanding, you know, being able to do that trek. We climbed the equivalent of 9 Everests up and down.
Wow.
And I never thought that'd be the case, but you know, in the course of a day we were hiking uphill 9,000 feet, downhill 9,000 feet. So it's a much more up and down trek than most people would expect.
Well, we're so fortunate that we have the Bruce Trail right at our backyards. And so what part of the Bruce Trail, like what was your favorite?
You know, I do have favorite parts, but I will say this. Every segment is something else to look forward to. You know, whether it's the waterfalls through Hamilton, which are great, it's some beautiful spots in there, you know, or the views that you all of a sudden come upon when you're in Kelso Conservation or in the Halton Hills and in the Glen Indian area. When we broke through in the Dufferin Highlands, you know, and you're going through sections where the moss buildup on rocks is quite phenomenal. And one of the guys that we were with, Teemu Lakasua, who's from Finland, remarked that it was as if you were hiking through Sumatra. I think, though, that the area that I was most impressed with is when you all of a sudden break through and outside of Owen Sound and you go across Wyerton and into the various bays that make up the southern shoreline, heading west into the Georgian Bay. So Dyer's Bay, Sydney Bay, the cliffs above it are phenomenal. They look like the White Cliffs of Dover, and the vistas are unbelievable. The clarity of the water is stunning, and you swear that you're in the Caribbean somewhere.
Isn't that something? Now, what did you learn from doing the North Pole, the South Pole, the Bruce Trail? Like, those are pretty extreme measures to raise money. Some people might want to just sell 50-50 tickets, and you've done some pretty amazing things. So what did you learn from those experiences?
Well, you know, there's a lot more to life than Hamilton and building homes and making sure your kids are well taken care of and safety and security. It's a wonderful place out there, you know, that you can discover. And it might be, you know, only kilometers from your own doorstep. But I think that being able to just push yourself and you know, kind of push the extremes of what you think you can do, you realize that it's amazing what you can accomplish if you really do that. And my life has changed dramatically as has that of my family's. You know, my wife Shelley is supportive in every way, and she's with me every step along. And
because when you're doing something like that, you've got to train for it, so that's time away from your family.
Oh, yeah. And you know what? Somebody says, how can you spend that much time away from your family? And I say, I probably do more parenting, you know, and I probably do more, you know, and my wife and I do more for our relationship as a married couple than I could ever do if I stayed at home and did what I would do on a routine basis. So it has enriched our lives dramatically. And, you know, the gift of understanding the responsibility of community involvement and giving back, I mean, it pays you back 10 times over. Yeah.
You do a turkey drive with your business, and you've raised a ton of money with doing a turkey drive, so tell me a little bit about that.
You know what we recognized was that in between all of the fundraising that we were doing that was connected to these great expeditions, which we, and of course we pay all our expenses along the way, 100% of the money goes right to charities, and we're very, very frugal insofar as making sure people understand the charities that we give money to, that you know, we want to know where it goes. We want it audited. So we kind of have rescinded from involvement in big activities like golf tournaments and big gala events where a lot of the money ends up going to the dinner and overhead coverages and entertainment. So although those, and I love those events as well, we thought we would just try a real, you know, down and dirty routine. So in between the individual expeditions, we would run a turkey drive because we were able to motivate individuals to give in those key periods in 2006, 2008, 2012. And so we needed something to fill in between. And our turkey drive is something that is really driven by my dad and my family. So we do a huge turkey a drive just before Christmas. And my family makes all homemade food, sausages, the pastas and gnocchis is unbelievable. We have about 600 friends and vendors and trades and employees that come through during the course of the day. And we sell turkeys, which is basically just a $25 unit of giving. And we raised $240,000 in a 4-hour period with zero overhead, and our total expenses are about $9,000, which we pay for. And it is, I think, one of the most fulfilling days of the year because we're able to get so much done with so little effort involved, and a formula that works phenomenally well. So I got to tell you, the people give in ways they never thought they could, and they come to recognize that they can, and they have the capacity to be able to do it. And every individual who's done so has had good things happen to them. And you know, that's reciprocated on the other side by individuals who never gave.
Right.
Things may not have worked out so well. So it's kind of funny the way that you know, the magic works itself, and there is a correlation, I really believe.
Well, Fred, you know what? Thank you for coming on the show and sharing your great stories, and you know, for all you do for the community and all that you give back to our community. And I know a lot of recipients really appreciate it. So thanks for everything that you do.
Thank you for the opportunity.
And thanks for tuning in, and we'll look forward to seeing you next time.